HPAC. Pakilala lang po kayo, sir.
Opo.
Hindi ko
Good morning
mababasa.
po, dear senators, department secretaries, undersecretaries, colleagues and friends. I'm Dr. Tony Dance, academician po ako sa National Academy of Science and Technology. So I'm a researcher, but I'm here today on behalf of an alliance of 90 healthcare professional organizations who, together with 6 former secretaries of health, have signed a letter of appeal that the 89.9 billion worth of reserve funds not be taken from PhilHealth. Lahat ng major society presidents and even the smallest subspecialty, signatory po, babasahin po mamaya ni Dr. Hector Santos, President of the PMA, yung letter po namin. No? My goal today is to explain why we're strongly against the diversion of funds. Let me just... Here you go. So, lumabas na po ba? Ayaw lumabas. I just have 4 slides, Mr. Senator. Mr. Chairman. Ayan po. So, let me start by explaining that the Universal Healthcare Act clearly distinguishes between individual and population services. No? Ang example po sa Republic Act ng individual service, yan po yung ginagamit sa gamot, sa laboratory tests, consultations, and other services. Ang population-based services are surveillance of disease, vector control, health promotion, health facilities. Ang primary agency assigned by the law for individual services is PhilHealth. And the primary agency for population-based services is the Department of Health. Financing is also defined. Financing ho ng individual-based services is through prepayment. So it is, in essence, an insurance. In contrast, population-based services will be funded through the Department of Health by the national governments. So malinaw po that the two are related but cannot be interchanged. We should also not pit them against each other, because when we take money that's meant for tests and medicines and use them to pay for health emergency allowance, for example, then we are pitting individual against population-based health services. Both are important, especially to us. But HEA should be funded by DOH and PhilHealth money should be reserved for patients. Kami po, yung 90 organizations who signed the letter, kami hong beneficiary ng HEA. Pero matinding paniniwala namin na hindi dapat gamitin ang pera ng PhilHealth for this. PhilHealth is an insurance fund. It's not a bank. We cannot withdraw our premiums from an insurance. So kunwari, hindi tayo nabangga, hindi naman natin pwedeng bawiin ang ating car insurance payment. Kung hindi tayo nagkasunog, hindi natin pwedeng bawiin yung binayad na fire insurance. Kung hindi tayo namatay, hindi natin babawiin ang ating life insurance. Ganun din sa PhilHealth, if there are savings, it should be used as defined by law for benefits such as consultations, admissions, medicines, and laboratory tests, whether they are for the direct or indirect contributors. Once the government removes the 89.9 billion, if we go to the 2022 data, which pegs the formal sector's contributions to 63%, pag nawala na ho yung ambag ng gobyerno at hindi po natin ginalaw yung sa formal sector, iniwan na natin yung formal sector to pay most of the healthcare expenses for that year. And this would be unjust. Ambagan ho tayo nung una Nung una, 63%. tatanggalin yung ambag ng gobyerno, di kami na or tayo na mga formal payers. At marami sa formal payers ang naghihirap din. We would not feel so strongly about this if we did not feel so much suffering from the patients we care for. Kami po yung katabi nila eh. The suffering is difficult to quantify at yun po yung sabing dapat kong gawin ngayong hapon. Try to quantify yung mga sinasabi ni Senator Bato and J.V. Ernesto and Senator Go. Gaano kalaki ba yung pagdudusan ng pasyente? Kasi alam lang natin yung nakikita natin kung saan-saan. Pero gaano kalaki ba yung paghihirap nila? So, isang linggo na ho kung di natutulog para pakita sa inyo itong 5 measures of patient suffering or financial hardship. Ang una po, yung out-of-pocket na nasabi nyo na, ito yung 10 ASEAN countries. No? Yan yung out-of-pocket expenses as percent of total expenses. Nasaan kaya dyan ang Pilipinas? We are the third from the bottom. Yan 45.9%. Ang tinalo lang natin Cambodia and Myanmar. 10 years ago, we were number 5. Now we are third from bottom. So, pagdudusa ho yan. Kasi kung galing sa bulsa, ang kinakain niyan, yung pera natin para sa ibang bagay. At dyan po mapasok yung pangalawang measure, yung tinatawag na catastrophic health expenses. Yung catastrophic health expense po, pag ang ginastos nyo is more than 10% of your household expenditure, catastrophic na po yun. Kasi kinakain na niyan ang pondo ng pamamahay para sa pagkain, sa damit, at sa education. So ito po yung recent data from the Family Income and Expenditure Survey. Up to almost 9% of some regions spend on catastrophic health expenses. That the countrywide average is 6.3 of households face catastrophic expenses because of those out-of-pocket spending. That's a total of about 1.5 million households or 9 million Filipinos. Pangatlo po, dahil din dyan, meron ng tinatawag na impoverishment. Sino yung mga dating hindi mahirap na naging mahirap dahil sa gastos nila sa kalusugan? At makikita na up to 1% of households are pushed into impoverishment. That's about 268,000 households with about 1.5 million Filipinos. So impoverishment is very high and catastrophic expenses. Yung pang-apat ho, based on a study by Dr. Gideon Lasco et al., which was recently published, sabi niya, meron hong 4 na paraan ng kada Pilipino para harapin ang kanilang health expenses. No? Pag hindi kasya yung nasa bulsa. Ang number 1 ho, PhilHealth. 4 P's niya ito. Ang number 2, pangungutang. Okay. Nabibilang yan sa out-of-pocket natin. Pero hindi natin alam na nangutang sila. Ang pangatlo, pagmamakaawa for medical assistance. No? So, pera nila yan, pero nagmamakaawa sila na magamit nila. Ang pang-apat, ang pinakamahirap, pagtitiis na nabanggit ni Senator De La Rosa. Ang daming Pilipino, dahil natakot sa gastos, hindi na lang pupunta sa doktor or sa ospital at magtitiis na lang dun sa kanilang karamdaman. No? Ang hirap niyan i-measure, pero hanapan ko ho ng ilang paraan. Papakita ko sa inyo. Ito ho yung PhilHealth Hospital Benefit Utilization based on the National Demographic and Health Survey of 2022. Nahiwalay po namin ang Pilipino into 5 quintiles. Yung richest hong nasa pinakakanan, yung poorest sa kaliwa. Ginawa ho ang PhilHealth at ang Universal Healthcare so that we can have health services regardless of ability to pay. So dapat po yan pantay. Patas-patas tayong nakakagamit ng hospital benefit. Pag titingnan niyo po, yung pinakamahirap, hindi nila nagagamit. No? Pag bilangin nyo ilang Pilipino yan, This is 350,000 Filipinos na nakagamit sa poorest quintile. Pero 550,000 of the richest quintile used it. Bakit hindi pantay? Dalawang dahilan. Pwede nating isipin na mas nagkakasakit yung mayaman. Pero hindi naman totoo yun. The only clear explanation for this is nagtiis sila. Either hindi sila makapunta sa health facility dahil wala, o makakapunta sila pero kulang ang pera nila. So this graph is a measure about 500,000 Filipinos suffering sa pagtitiis. No? Inpatient service pa lang yan. Pag titingnan nyo, things like outpatient service for hypertension, tingnan nyo yung from poorest to richest quintile, 50% of hypertensive sa rich quintile, hindi controlled ang blood pressure nila. Kasi meron naman talagang mahirap control. Pero sa poorest, only 18.6 ang controlled percent. No? Hindi lang yan, hypertension, diabetes, mental health problems, ang laki ho ng paghihirap sa outpatient services. And then last na lang po, naisip ko lang ho to kaninang umaga, paano ba natin sukatin ang unmet need ng Pilipino? Tapos dumapo sa aking pag-isip, kung ahas to, tinuka na tayo eh. Yang 400 billion na yan, na saving na 600 pala, that is the fifth measure of unmet need. Prediction po ng ating actuaries, based on studies, ilan bang may sakit sa puso, ilan bang may sakit sa baga, gaano kadalas ba to, magkano gagastusin nila sa hospital. Nag-predict sila ng expense, pero hindi natin nagamit. No? So yan hong 400 or 600 billion na yan po. Hindi po yan savings. Yan po ay sukat ng paghihirap ng Pilipino na hindi ho natin natulungan. Hindi po siya savings, siya po ay utang natin. No. If I may have 2 more minutes, Mr. Chairman, gusto ko lang lagyan ng muka yung mga binibigay kong statistics. No.
Go ahead po, Doc.
Ikwento ko po si Mr. Javier Idul Zaraz, 76-year-old former linesman ng PLDT. He suffered a stroke last May and was confined for 2 months. His daughter is a call center employee, had to help. The bill was mounting at a rate of 12,000 pesos per day. The family could not afford it, so they resorted to the 4Ps. Una, PhilHealth, which gave a whopping fund of 20,000 pesos. Barely good enough for 3 days. The second was pangungutang. So yung anak niya po, sinulatan kami at ibang kaibigan, and even organized biking events to raise money to pay for blood and medications that were not covered on a daily basis. Yung last P niya ay pagmamakaawa. So after 2 months of confinement, their total bill was 700,000 pesos. After repeated visits to social service to beg for help, they got it. The bill was covered by a private entity, the PGH Foundation. Today, they continue to spend 3,000 a day, a month, out of the daughter's salary of 13,000. So every month they face catastrophic expenses and impoverishment. Ang laki po ng pangangailangan ng taong bayan, Mr. Chairman, wag po nating kunin ang pera ng PhilHealth dahil daan-libong pasyente ang patuloy na nagmamakaawa at nagtitiis araw-araw dahil kulang ang pera para sa kalusugan. Kami po ang nilalapitan nila, kami po ang katabi nila sa pagdudusa. Excuse me. Kulang po ang tulong ng PhilHealth. Huwag nating tawaging savings yan kasi ito po'y utang natin sa kanila eh. Hindi ito dapat kaltasan, dapat ito gamitin sa lalong madaling panahon para sa kanilang mga karamdaman. Maraming salamat po.